Starting a school in a place with such thin air was not easy, but children need education and it can be done. Although this is rather too far ahead in my story, you need to know where I came from in order to really understand my life and my name. I was born in Lawrence County, Kentucky on March 26, 1850 as Mary Lincoln Mellon. My father was William Proctor Mellon, nicknamed me Queen. I had very many opportunities in life. My father remarried to my mother's sister. I had 6 siblings, and there was love. My father was a very powerful man and planned many railroads. When I was 19, my father and I were on a train. He was discussing a plan to extend the railroad from Denver to Mexico City. The man to his right was General William Palmer. It was love at first sight. He shared my deep love for music, books, and plays. Weeks after our meeting, he proposed. While he was building our new home in Colorado Springs, the name I later homed Glen Erie after nesting eagles, he sent me love notes and calling cards in Flushing, New York. Many times I was surprised, and the cards would ask me to leave at that moment. We got married in November of 1870. It wasn't until 1871 that I arrived in the mountainous area of Colorado Springs. The breath left me when I saw our future home where I had to wait another year to live in. Indeed, there may have been snakes in the rocky cliffs of Glen Erie, but there was also an exciting array of wildlife. Mountain lion and bobcat wandered through the estate as they always had. Bighorn sheep and deer munched on the tender blades of grass and drank from tumbling waters of the crystal clear creek. Black bear, some cinnamon colors, others truly black, lumbered through the forest but could quickly and effortlessly scale the steep rocks. Wildflowers carpeted the slopes. One of the earliest to herald spring was the creamy seagull lily, and the soft of the blue columbine contrasted with the bright red paintbrush. Wild strawberries struggled through the unseen clefts in the rocks, and in late summer the sweet raspberries hung heavy on the bushes. In the first year of my married life, my husband and I went on a business trip to Mexico. He had still been planning to extend the railroad. On the way there, we were jumped by bandits. Luckily, no one was hurt. That year, my husband taught me how to use a gun. In our carriage, I realized I was pregnant with my first daughter, Elsie, who was born on October 29, 1871. In Glen Erie, our home was always crawling with Indians and natives. Sometimes they would wander uninvited in through the house. I was always friendly, but it did kind of bother me. One day, Ute chiefs invited me for lunch. I made ties with the Indians, and they were very friendly. Little London, Colorado Springs' new nickname, was busily growing. It was my idea to name some of the streets after places that my husband had explored or gone to. I was extremely proud of him and his success of founding Colorado Springs community and the railroads in the West. At 21, I started the first school in Colorado Springs on the corner of Tejon and Cascade Avenue on the second floor of a newspaper print. Many people didn't come at first, and I only had 7 pupils the first day. Of course, I didn't give up. Education was important to me, and I couldn't say I've had a lot of schooling, but children need a place to learn regardless of the size or the quality. Eventually, my little school grew to 20 pupils. It was hard to run because there were children of all ages, from 5 to 15. It was hard to keep curriculum circulating at first, but I caught on. In 1882, I had already stopped teaching, but I was still involved with my school. It was moved to a place between 2 rival railroads wanting the Royal Gorge. Unfortunately, in 1880, in my process of deciding to move my school, I had a heart attack. I was with my friend, Mrs. Rose Kingsley, and we were coming back from a trip from Leadville, Colorado. I felt a terrible pain, and from then on, I knew I had heart problems. That same year, my daughter Dorothy was born on November 29th. I had started a Christmas ball for my students and the other children of Colorado Springs. This tradition continued for many years, even when the school was moved. My husband, William Palmer, was very notorious in Colorado Springs. I like to think that later on in his life, after we were married, that I helped him with his business ties by being a hostess to guests and people that he would be discussing it with. Maybe that's why he named a lovely canyon Queens Canyon after me. I was able to help him in small things like naming roads and rock formations that Glen Erie looked over. When I heard that I had a chance to achieve on my own, I helped with the library fundraiser and I sang. My school was also doing very well. My 3 children were wandering around the rock formations and using their imagination. I was a proud mother. Despite all of the natural land and beauty that Colorado had to provide, it was a harsh climate to live in. I ended up having to go live in Britain because the air was too thin and it worsened my heart condition. I loved Glen Erie in my home, but it was for the better. I was able to take my children, but William stayed behind to work more on Colorado Springs. I just wish that my health would allow me to stay. Surely I would think that I left a large part of myself by leaving my school. Education meant so much to me, and I would hope that I started more with my building. Hopefully I left a marked influence on Colorado. Only time will tell.